Welcome to the Strategic Insights Podcast. I'm your moderator, Andrew Makl. Today, I have the pleasure of having a podcast surrounding a partnership that is flourishing, to say the least. And in that partnership, it's with a company called Salora. They are based. Their founder is based out of Denver. I got him on the call today. How you doing today, Nathan?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
So, Nathan, it's an exciting time for us, right? So, I come from Strategic Information Group, who's been fundamentally an ERP provider of uh, Q80 as well as other enterprise business solutions for finance, WMS, QMS, so on. All those lovely acronyms in our industry we like to cringe over when we ask somebody, please give us your definition of that product. And when we decided to go into this foray of NetSuite, we looked out and we went and visited a couple different events, and we found that we really needed to find the correct partner that had the same culture, the same benefits that drive their business in regards to how they view the customer and their commitment to delivery. And really, I think that's where we ended up connecting at a user event, and it started the communication up. And as we decided to become a SP for NetSuite, we realized that we needed to have a AP to be a partner with as we look to, of course, develop our own team. And as we look for APs, it was going to be the strongest person we could find in the industry to support as many verticals as we could that would align with a lot of our methodologies. And lo and behold, Nathan, I'm going to let you talk about your background of your company, but in our opinion, that's how we became to this partnership and why we started this communication to support customers at a level that we both have an expectation to on the sales side, as well as the delivery and post-delivery side and pro services side. And I really want to thank you for taking the time today to come on the podcast. But Nathan, before we get into that, can you give us a little bit of background about yourself and your company?
Sure. A little bit of background on Salora ERP. We're NetSuite Alliance partners, formerly solution provider partners. Salora's been around about 4.5 years now, officially as a NetSuite consulting firm and partner. Um, so we do a little bit of everything in the NetSuite space: implementations, post go live support, integrations, customizations, some out of the box thinking. We're a team of 25, 30 consultants, and we support a lot of different clients in a lot of different industries and a lot of different geographies. And we really love and are passionate about NetSuite and delivering the right solutions, the thoughtful solutions. We build a diverse team to really support all the different areas and functional needs within NetSuite.
So you highlighted about the diversity, and this is one thing I will say that is when we are interviewing people to work with and try to find a good partner. When I asked, "Do you have expertise in X, Y, or Z?" The hilarious part was, I don't think I got you to say no to any of it. And then when I even called you out on it, it was like, "Oh, that let me add him to the call." So I will say that you've done an excellent job in your organization of making sure your skill sets match what we're finding out there in the space. And so when someone says, "Oh, well, why did you pick a firm such as Salora?" The fact is they just cover such a wide breadth of what we find as requirements for manufacturers and for distribution customers that we're glad you decided you want to become an AP and stop the SP part and find a way that the partnership would make work. So thank you.
When working with a partnership like yourself and folks like yourself is huge for us. It opens so many doors and avenues, and it's all about for us. NetSuite's a small world. It really is. You've been in the space long enough, you eventually kind of know everybody and run into the same people over and over. So it's about building those partnerships and relationships and seeing where it goes and where it grows and filling those gaps and those niches and those interesting complex use cases that, hey, we've solved that before and seen that before, and here's how we did it.
Your ability to solve it in the way that your customers have talked about you, because obviously we have a tenure with our customers. The average customer's been with us 10 years. They've gone through multiple implementations with us. Even though that you're saying that you've only been in business for about 5 years or so, your people are already talking to your team about that. Like, they're constantly with us. They're part of our organization, and it was one of those things where it seemed like a very seamless partnership. But on that regard, how did you come to this position? Because I don't think, from my recollection, you started off as an implementation consultant by any means.
No, it's been an interesting journey, and I don't know if we've ever actually talked about the whole story. So this is good. Yeah, I mean, my background was accounting and finance. Went to school for accounting and finance. Thought I was gonna go work on Wall Street or something. That obviously didn't pan out. But I worked a few accounting jobs for logistics companies and distribution companies, and then wanted to move out to Colorado, and I found a job out here as an AP and sales tax manager for a big software company. And just so happened that they were just about to start their NetSuite implementation. So literally the first day I started on the job was like the first day of the NetSuite implementation. And this is for, a big $10 billion company. And being on the AP and the sales tax side and really managing both of those areas, I was super involved in the whole order to cash, procure to pay side. So got a. I've always been very software inclined. I didn't love accounting as much, so for me, this was cool and exciting and something new to do, and really love the software aspect. So, long story short, worked there for a year and a half on their accounting team, and then truth be told, their ERP they had an internal ERP applications team, and they more or less poached me. I wanted to go to them, and became an internal NetSuite admin working with them. And from there, I was really so passionate about learning the software and what it could do and what it could do for my career and where it could go, that I really soaked up absolutely everything, learned as much as I could. So I stayed on that team for another year or so, I think. I can't remember the exact dates, but was a NetSuite admin, worked on all their different applications. They had Salesforce, they had Celigo, they had Delbumi, they had Zone Billing, every application. So you get a really broad, they had an extremely complex NetSuite. So, feet to the fire for the 2.5, 3 years. And then I went and worked for another NetSuite partner, doing implementation, support work, managed services, the whole 9 yards. So I kind of knew that I didn't want to stay at that company, the original software company, forever, because I wanted to learn more, do more in NetSuite. They didn't do much inventory, they didn't do manufacturing, they didn't do some of those other areas, and I was like, I've kind of learned everything I can learn here. So went and worked for the natural progression was go work for a partner, kind of go see it all and do implementations and do support work, and there learned and grew a lot more. Right, saw so many different use cases, hundreds of NetSuite accounts, hundreds of NetSuite clients, and I saw how the whole business worked at that point, from an end user, from an implementer, from a consultant and supporting, and just the whole kind of business of really how it works. And from there, I always knew I wanted to work for myself and start my own business. So, took the jump, took the plunge, and started our own NetSuite practice. March 2020, early, month into COVID, called up my business partner Brian and said, "Hey, this thing we've been talking about doing for 5 years, I think we're going to be stuck at home for a while. Should we go ahead and do it?" And we did. Start with one client, get another client, and rinse and repeat. Start growing the team, start hiring people and part-time folks, and then full-time folks, and before you know it, you've got a team of, total team and staff of 40, 50 people on board. So I've been busy the last 5 years, last 10 years. So
About to say, it sounds like you've been burning the candle since 2020.
yeah, well, those 12, 14 hour days, you just get used to them at some point. So
Unfortunately, there is a truth to that, right? When you know you're taking a 6 a.m. call, no matter what geo you're in, just to make sure that you keep the
Mhm.
wheels going. But I think something you hit on there is really why the synergy, of why I thought our companies would be very well suited together. So, for example, you're talking about taking the long days, putting the customers first, grinding it out, very much a very similar mentality. But our leadership for our company, for example, Susie Reno, our president and CEO, she started off as a controller and a CFO like yourself, so in the financial side, and then transitioned due to systems over to software and systems. Mike Cook, our SVP, he started off as a packaging engineer, right? So he's a packaging engineer in manufacturing for a number of years and did the same jump. So I think a lot of the reasons why we work well together is because everybody leading both of our organizations, including myself, I came from construction materials and automotive, in operations and supply chain. So it's easier to make that leap when you start using solutions and you start loving the solution more than you love the industry or the vertical things that you went to college for. So
Right, right.
it's very interesting. But the nice thing is, when we have conversations with the customers, you very much have sat in the seat of the people that you're talking to on the financial side to help them get to a solution and an end result of what they're looking for.
Well, and I think that's critical. If not having the first-hand experience, whether in the industry or as a NetSuite end user, really limits how much you can creatively think and solve some of these problems. And knowing what those time-consuming pain points are, and hey, how do we save you 10 hours a week, 100 hours a month, 1,000 hours a year in your day-to-day activities, and just building NetSuite to be the most efficient and optimized it can be, because there's no such thing as cookie cutter and rinse and repeat. Every business does it differently. Everybody wants it a little differently. Sure, the foundation's the same, but it's all different, and you've got to
Right.
really understand your client and their business and how they want to run their business to implement that for
I mean, everybody thinks they're a unicorn, right? And there are some small differences between everybody that we need to make sure we take care of. And I think that's the key in the last 20% of any implementation of an ERP solution, especially NetSuite, to make sure that it is a differentiator from what they were coming from.
Yeah, yeah. I'll say we didn't get in this line of work because it was easy. I mean, you really do have to be passionate about it. You have to love problem solving, really love kind of duking it out, fighting it out to find that right solution. Not literally fighting, but it's you're bouncing so many things off the wall to try and solve these complex problems, and eventually get there. And it is super rewarding. It's fun. If I didn't enjoy what I did every day, I wouldn't be doing doing this line of work. That's for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, my favorite part about what we do is I can be dealing with an automotive customer 1 minute. I could be dealing with a life science customer another minute. I could deal with a customer making pancakes. Like and because the differences in issues they're running into are different. If you're into puzzles or into games and solving solutions, it is definitely an interesting line of work.
Well, I play Sudoku and chess for fun, so I'm
I
I'm
won't
I'm
ask
a
you your chess rating
quite
on
good
the
at that.
on the podcast, but we can talk about that afterward. I'm kind of curious. Um, as we get together and we talk about the partnership a little bit more, because everybody's like, well, Andrew Strategic has a services arm through acquisition. We absolutely do. We support multiple industries, multiple verticals, but we realize that, like much like you said, you have to have experience and firsthand experience in each of these verticals to make it make sense when you're supporting a customer. And really, that's where we found Salora and your team to be, unparalleled in who we want to partner with. And so while we came together and we said, hey, we bring a pretty good life science and automotive team to the forefront with validation and a bunch of other services that help you with regulatory compliance. And we have a very strong global program and project management team. You came back to us and covered basically all the areas that we don't, with distribution, with still doing manufacturing, with a high level of technical integration and customization capability. And talk to us a little bit about the specialties and the verticals that you see as being your company's strong suit.
Sure, sure. So yeah, a lot of manufacturing, a lot of really complex manufacturing. Think 500 1,000 steps in the manufacturing routing, and very complex and precise costing with really finite small amounts of precious materials and metals, and it gets as ugly and complex on the accounting side as you could imagine. A lot of healthcare clients, a lot of clients doing all kinds of professional services where we're integrating to their own proprietary homegrown systems, their own data warehouse. And it's what so many of these projects really become is not just NetSuite, but the whole ecosystem. Yeah, we're integrating to your e-commerce, we're integrating to your 3PL, your EDI, your other reporting database, some other, marketing database. Before you know it, you've got 10, 20 traffic streams going in and out of any one NetSuite account. Um, but yeah, a lot of work with kind of niche industries as well. Um, plant nurseries, things like that, and industries that don't always fit is out of the box as they would or could in NetSuite. Companies that do a lot of even government contracting and all the reporting requirements you have to do, and pricing and bidding and so on, and all these things that make a business at face value seem simple. Yeah, somebody takes an order, somebody fulfills an order, but it's so much more complex and detailed than that, especially at scale, and volume when some of these bigger companies.
And I think you highlighted the exact reason why when we started having conversation, for us it was no brainer. We deal with on the other side of the house six basic verticals, right? Not basic, they're big ones: life science, automotive, industrial, high tech, packaging, you name it. And when I sat there and I had a conversation with you, and I was like, "Well, NetSuite claims they have like 600 micro verticals," and you kind of looked at me and said, you can double that if you really want to look at how detailed we're going to have to get with some of these requirements, much like you said, precious metals and cost of, some things that have fluctuation on daily cost that have to be integrated for financial reporting to the systems. And I was like, all right, now that's the type of partner I want, where I know I can go in, and if we run into a unique situation where companies are acquiring, or if we have somebody reach out to us that is a fit for half of what we do, but not the other half, do you have expertise to get there? Your flexibility and ability to help customers get to market, to us, was a
Yeah.
differentiator in us getting this partnership going.
Well, one for me, like anybody can go implement base NetSuite, but there's a lot of NetSuite experts out there. But what we've really done over the years is truly mastered NetSuite, have such a deep understanding of what it can do out of the box and what it can't do, and then okay, what can we do with scripts and integrations and customizations, and even outside of that, what can it absolutely not do? So, And we've got a really strong team of developers. I think more developers on staff than most other partners have. We build a lot of our own custom IP and applications as well, but more so on this integration piece is, every client wants to integrate some system that, of course, does not have an off-the-shelf integration. How do we do it? Well, the answer is we really can integrate anything as long as there's some API, some flat file, some data, and really not shying away from any problems and the scary stuff where, a lot of these projects, it's a bunch of finger pointing to say, well, it's their integration, it's not my problem. Say, no, 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 we'll come in there, we'll solve it, we'll bring all the parties together, and we'll build whatever the heck we need to build to make it happen.
I think that's a highlight point, right? Because we talk about when we look at other ERP solutions and why we resonated to go to NetSuite and why we found you was the fact that as a platform, it seems like NetSuite is uniquely positioned to allow people this flexibility. Now, the finger pointing aside, you find the right people, you basically have an endless opportunity there to run a solution or configure it and integrate it to make it do some crazy things. I know, for example, we have a customer we're working with right now and looking at integrations, and you're talking, 8, 10 different products for integration because they own, so many different companies, and say, hey, instead of running 3 different ERPs as a go-to-market strategy, how about we look at integrating it to one platform? And then your platform conversation with NetSuite is a phenomenal way of how you explain it and then really dig into a customer's requirements. Because I think financial people are like, I don't have to do cost roll-ups from 5 different ERP systems. That's awesome.
Right? It's not going to take me 20 hours a month. And two net, I really do think NetSuite's the best ERP solution on the market. It's the easiest to implement, the most customizable, most flexible. And when it comes to integrations, they have virtually every integration method that you could think of available and pretty easy to implement as long as you have the right skill set. So um, it's endlessly flexible, and even we've even integrated with some like 30-year-old food and bev, alcohol systems that, really don't have an API, but you're basically, making black magic happen, right? You're integrating systems that shouldn't even be operating anymore, but, finding a way to make them talk to each other.
I think that's the big differentiator when people are always like, well, why did you choose NetSuite? Because I have customers that choose NetSuite that have 10 users. I have customers that want to choose NetSuite that have 250 users, that might have 1,000 users. At the
Right.
end of the day, that platform conversation and the fact that they can accomplish their goals without modifying base code and have a real SaaS product um, is becoming more and more prevalent because everybody's trying to get to SaaS in other areas, right? The big boys are all trying to get there. That we'll say big boys as in just the ones that spend the marketing dollars. But the answer really comes down to is NetSuite can scale to a fairly large size. And if
Yeah.
you're starting up and you've got grand plans of growth, it's kind of hard not to go there because you're not going to have to leave the financial side. It's going to add stability to your company and it's going to offer speed to market because you can basically tie to anything. So if you go to acquire somebody, not a problem. If you go to divest from
Right.
somebody, not a problem. If you're now all of a sudden going into different industry requirements and you need to put in a different type of solution for maybe adherence and compliance, it's basically a daily conversation for us. And since your team's out there doing all of these things, plus offering pro services, which please highlight on your company's ability to deliver pro services and let companies operate with slim down IT teams.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, pro services is really the biggest component for us, and always will be. It's our bread and butter. Supporting a number of different clients. I'm not even sure how many active clients we have at this point, but it's anything and everything they need. Do they need a lot of support, a little bit of support, just support in certain focus areas? We even offer outsourced accounting, for NetSuite support with a couple CPAs we have on staff who augmented accountants for a while. But really, it's the whole gamut of professional services and our ability to, our mastery of all the different modules of NetSuite and other add-ons like NetSuite Planning and Budgeting, Suite Commerce Advanced, fixed assets, and all in ARM and all these other modules within NetSuite, really allows us to come in and support a client and continue to support them indefinitely. There's really very rarely a gap that a client's ever had for us that we couldn't support where they have to go seek additional outside services. So our biggest goal is implement a client or support them post go live, but be that trusted partner for 5, 10 years, however long they're on NetSuite, to say, hey, we love working with you. You love working with us. You're not going to find better support anywhere. But it's really that attention to detail, that support, and not taking days and weeks to respond and delivering the support you would want as an end user. I've been an end user working with consultants. I know what that generally looks like. So really, our whole goal with starting the business was to deliver that timely, support, and really become an extra arm of their business to where they don't see us as a consultant or a contractor. It's almost just another employee working for them. So,
I think one thing I want to highlight that maybe many listeners might not know. So, in certain industries, your ERP system is supported by consultants of certain age groups or certain years of years in industry and so on. And some of the bigger products, much like we support on the other side of our house, our consultants all have 10 plus years of experience in industry plus consulting. Basically in NetSuite and a lot of the other products that are out there that are real SaaS products, because obviously those are things that younger people learn. It's very common to have people with less than 3 years experience supporting consulting, and your team is actually very senior. So even though you're
yeah,
talking like, hey, we've been doing this for upwards of 5 years, I have sit there and you go, well, I was doing consulting for 8 years before I got into doing my own company, and all of a sudden you start doing the math on it. And you guys are very rapidly approaching double digits for seniority of people working inside the space. So it is a key element, because when you deliver services and you have somebody that's done it, lived it, went through it, has done multiple iterations of implementations, it comes off better. The solution is tailored correctly, and you don't have as much future work. So everybody's like, well, they're coming at me with a junior consultant, and XYZ is their rate. And you're kind of like, great. How many hours do you think it's going to take them to deliver that? Right.
right.
Or what's the value? Does he understand your industry and what you're doing? And you guys have that in spades. So kudos to you. And I'm very excited for this. And a little bit I want to talk about between our partnership, because we're not just North America anymore, right? So we've Strategic has gone and launched into the EMEA. And part of that is with our partnership with you is we have a list of partner consultants that all have the Salora Strategic certified type of consulting role, where you have to be a certain tenure, understand the industry, and we've developed a partnership network that allows us to support customers basically no matter where you are in these geos. And I want to say that kudos to you, because you've been doing it for a while, but as we expanded into it, I never realized our partnership would immediately jump the pond.
Jump
And,
on. Yeah, and we've got clients who are multinational. We've got clients based in Australia, New Zealand, all over Asia, all over Europe, South America. I mean, it's clients with many sites in many countries, and some late night and early morning calls from time to time. But uh, that's what really makes it fun. And sometimes you'll be on these calls with 10 people from 10 different countries and 10 different native languages. But it's cool to bring it all together and see it all really consolidated in NetSuite.
Absolutely. And I do appreciate, because I know we were running a cycle with one of our customers in Ireland. And not only were you on it, but you had a consultant I didn't realize were over on that side of the water. So it's just one of those things where you realize the world is shrinking since COVID, right? Everybody works from home, and you don't know where people are, and people are relocating. And I might have an expat, or I might just have somebody over there in general that we hired in the geo, and the growth is exponential. So we're excited, because not only is this partnership being fruitful for our customers in North America, but those that are like, hey, well, I have a distribution facility in the UK. Yep, not a problem. We got people over there as well. And so as we look at this partnership moving forward, it's a good time. And I want to bring a success story from mine, and I'm going to let you share one before we wrap up. We had a number of customers that we brought over off legacy ERP solutions from other providers, and one of which was one that was a divestiture from a very large company who will actually come on at a different time. We're going to do a customer testimonial with them. And they went from being a manufacturer to a distributor of their product, but they had a lot of headaches because they're originally set up for a company that was, I don't know, 2 billion, 40 sites, and they were given that software to run. And you can imagine how that wouldn't be applicable to a one-site distribution model. And your team seamlessly got them up and running in a very short amount of time with a stack of products that fit exactly what they needed to do. And having a referenceable account for your first one out of the gate, I just want to say thank you for proving that this partnership was going to be fruitful going forward. And I can't wait for us all to be on a call with that customer for our case study and our customer testimonial here in a few weeks.
Absolutely.
So I can't tell you that if someone comes to me and says, I need to be on a new solution, and I say, great, we'll have a conversation with it. And they go, hey, can we have this up and running in less than 2 months? And I go, it's probably not a great idea. He's, how about less than 3? And you looked at me and goes, oh yeah, that seems doable. And
Hey, we got it done.
It working seamlessly, and the person's on pro services and not even sure if he needs them, but he loves it.
He hasn't called us in a couple of weeks. So yeah, no news is good news usually.
No, it's good news. I mean, he's gonna start calling, because I think he wants to expand the use now, and that team does, because they're gonna start growing. But the neat part is like we all know we do it, but when we do it and it comes off seamless, because we both know projects have pitfalls, right? You're gonna have
Yeah.
things you have to fix, and there might be a configuration here or there, but that one was one of those where it's like, yeah, we got the right team. But I want to leave it to you, since you've worked with so many different companies, yourself included, supporting very large ones. If you got any good, case studies or customer stories that you like to share with
Sure.
people when they say, "Hey, why choose NetSuite?"
Sure. Yeah, and we've worked, so much on the new implementation side, but also with clients who've already been live on NetSuite, and really, taking the base implementation they got. There's a manufacturer distributor I'm thinking of here specifically. Um, they were originally implemented, I think, by NetSuite Direct or another partner, really vanilla basic implementation, which is what they needed at the time. We've worked with them for almost 5 years now. I barely work with them at all anymore at this point because we basically automated everything in their system. All of their orders, emails go out automatically. All their invoices, emails go out automatically with payment links. Same for shipping notices, same for purchase orders. Everything's integrated to their proprietary homegrown system. Things are integrated with their various customer portals where they have to upload invoices to where really the system, you don't have to do that much manual anything anymore because, every time an order comes in, and we built a suitelet or an integration to their own website to where their customers can place their own orders. At that point, you really just have to fulfill inventory, make sure you have enough inventory on hand and assembled and manufactured, and ship it. And they have a lot of other complexities with their business too, where they install their services and hardware on site and send teams out and all that. But slowly but surely, over the course of really 2 years, where we were working the heaviest with them, we automated all these manual things in their system and really bulletproofed everything to where a really small accounting team didn't need to get bigger. One or two people could do all of the AR and AP and the invoicing, and really it allowed their sales team to scale and grow. Another thing we set up for them is all these email based approvals where an email goes out to approve a PO or a bill or expense report, and you can see all the attachments. You've got approve and reject GUI buttons in the email. Just making things so seamless for them where they didn't always have to log into NetSuite. I can do a lot of stuff from my phone and my mobile device, my desktop. Um, and just really understanding their business over the course of that 2, 3, 4, 5 years to know what they need and make those proper suggestions and recommendations to where they're like, you find that we finally have somebody who gets it and sees it and knows like what we need. And every time we ask for something that we want new, oh, they've got 10 examples where they can reference what they built before and show that live demonstration. Yeah, this is how you solve this and that. So, so many clients who maybe had an implementation where they got what they needed to get started, but what they're really looking for is those efficiencies and automations that are going to allow them to grow from 50 to 100 to $200 million a year in revenue. And seeing them go on that journey to where everything's working so well, they don't call me anymore. They're so busy they don't have time to call me. So those are all good problems.
Absolutely. And to summarize that for everybody that got all excited with not having to grow staff, um, you're eliminating human error. You're offering them
Right.
to be able to scale. You're giving people time back to be able to value add to their organization. And the real key is that eliminating of human error means that all the data that you're speeding to them through automation, it allows them in real time, allows them to make business decisions quicker.
Right.
So when they say, "Oh, I'm on a vanilla, I like it, but I wish it did more," contact us to do more.
Right.
Reach out to
When
us
they were doing
because
all their quoting and opportunities in spreadsheets, bring all that into NetSuite. How do you know what your order and inventory demand is if if your quotes for 6 months from now are in a Google sheet somewhere?
I mean, what is the overhead of 4 to 6 people you save them worth for the money they had you spend to automate it? They've probably recouped it 10 times over.
Right, exactly. And all the different solutions that just make it to where they can actually get caught up on their work rather than, oh, I'm 3 days behind, 5 days behind, and I've got 800 emails to get through and 800 tasks.
Yeah. Nathan, thank you for explaining just how you and your team can help take the NetSuite platform and make people just be honest with it takes them to another level in being profitable and productive in the solution. Because at the end of the day, we both know it's a great platform, but becoming great in the solution is finding the right partner to help you make those transitions. So, for this product and partner spotlight, we'll dig into some products that you guys have out there to help customers on our next go around with that customer testimonial. But I want to thank you for taking the time today and getting this new partnership out there. So when customers are looking at why they should look at us both to connect with and solve those NetSuite ERP requirements, hopefully we highlighted a lot of that today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. And As always, love working with you guys, and it's nice to work with folks who are as enthusiastic about the work we do in the industry and just the potential, and how amazing the space is going to get even over the next 10 years.